Hello and welcome back to Man Coverage. I'm Danzel Moore.
And I'm Derek Williams.
Well, this week has been a great week as far as sports in the professional levels. If you take it outside of football, basketball, any other sport that you have. Right now, I want to talk about something that has been on most of America's mind, and it's really been on mine. And it's the NFL has been talking a lot about Odell Beckham, right?
Right.
And Odell Beckham was spotted at UCLA carrying a Cleveland Browns football. Now, here's the thing that I'm wondering. Odell Beckham has an opportunity to get out of his contract with the New York Giants. The Cleveland Browns have needed a quarterback, multiple receivers, and on top of that, just an offensive weapon. Odell Beckham can pretty much do everything on that offense. So what I'm wondering is why is it that he's not came out and said anything like, oh, I wouldn't mind being traded to the Cleveland Browns. But what the Cleveland Browns have to do is they would have to trade their first round draft picks. They got 2 picks. They got the first pick and then they got the 4th pick. Now, I'm wondering, could they trade those 2 picks and then potentially get Odell Beckham, which could really turn the franchise completely around?
Well, I think recently the Giants have said that Odell Beckham is not on the trade block anymore. I don't know if that's false advertising but I don't see that happening. But I do see with Odell Beckham, I think he's going to stay with New York. And, I don't think he's going to Cleveland. But speaking of trades, the New England Patriots traded Brandon Cooks, their number 1 deep threat, to the Los Angeles Rams. So they're beefing up. That's huge. So not only are the Rams adding pieces on their defense, they're also putting weapons around Jared Goff, and you have Todd Gurley in the backfield, and yeah, so that's going to be a nasty team. Are the Rams a team to beat in the NFC?
I think they are. I think right now that they have too many weapons as far as their defense to try. I don't think they can be stopped.
Can we say that just by looking at the team on paper? Because Philadelphia is just saying we just won a Super Bowl with our backup quarterback. Yeah. So our team, and they added Michael Bennett. But on the Rams on paper, I'm looking at them like, okay, are they the number 1? Are they the team to beat?
They just got Ndamukong Suh. So I think right now
with Aaron Donald.
Yeah. So I mean, they're gonna put them on the other side of each other. I think that right now this is gonna be the best team ever in the Rams' history of their franchise. Even the team with Marshall Faulk, that is going to be the greatest Rams team in the history of the franchise.
So the greatest show on turf is back?
I think so.
I think Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, Todd Gurley.
That's going to be a great team.
That's going to be a great team. Well, the trades have happened, and guess what starts in a couple of days? The NBA playoffs.
Oh, yes. NBA playoffs. I can't wait for that. I know you can't wait just as well as I'm excited.
Well, I was excited. But then I received the news that Kyrie Irving was out for the rest of the regular season and playoffs. So that taints the Celtics Cavs matchup that I was dying to see, because I promise you, if Kyrie Irving was healthy and the Cavs would have had to play Boston, and Boston has the number 2 seed, so Boston would have had home court. I'm telling you, the Celtics would have upset Cleveland, and LeBron's going to leave. Like, remember how the Celtics beat LeBron and the Cavs in the playoffs, and they forced LeBron to leave? The same thing is going to happen.
Well, right now,
but that taints it.
The king of basketball, Mr. LeBron James, has got a lot to think about, but one of his worries definitely was not the Boston Celtics. Even with Kyrie Irving, I think Gordon Hayward, that would have been a lot of, been a lot to deal with, but it wouldn't have been too much for the king to handle. Just like the Golden State Warriors wasn't too much for him to handle. It was too much for the Cleveland Cavaliers to handle. But I think LeBron James is not going to stop him. It's not going to shake his composure at all. I think that what's going to end up happening was, and what my mindset is telling me, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're going to beat everybody in the East.
Whoa.
It's not going to happen.
Whoa,
It's not going to be anybody to beat them. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want to talk about this for a second. I think the Philadelphia 76ers, they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you say. They have Ben Simmons. They're going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals.
And you know what? They're going to see Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals. And they're going to upset Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals. Because, hold on, wait a minute. It's been the city of Philadelphia. So you telling me the Eagles upset the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Villanova wins the national championship.
PA is definitely on the map this year, but when it comes to Mr. LeBron James.
And you know, the Warriors aren't healthy. And, you know, I'm not sold on Houston like everyone else is. And
could you –
I like the 76ers as a favorite to win it all.
To win it all over the OKC, like over the Thunder.
Okay, if it was OKC versus the 76ers, that's a great matchup. That's going
definitely.
7 games. That's going 7 games. It's pick 'em. I mean, okay, you might say, oh, well, the 76ers don't have experience, but I mean, Melo's never been to a finals either.
Never.
Paul George's never been to a finals either.
Mr. LeBron James has stopped all of that for both of them.
Okay, so I'm just saying, Philadelphia, I'm liking your chances, and I'll talk more about that on my man-to-man, and we'll get into that later. That's just a little teaser. I'm going to talk about them 76ers because Cleveland better watch out because them boys been on a rampage, on a winning streak, and they beat Cleveland because LeBron missed a free throw, and that it sparked a whole nother debate because, like my dad said, my dad texted me after LeBron missed those free throws, and you know what he said? The difference is Jordan
would have made those 3 throws.
Jordan would have made those free throws.
I knew that you were going to say that. And
you know what? Kobe would have made those free throws, but we're not going to get into that. But Jordan would have made those free throws. So when it comes to the conversation, that's one big factor because
I don't understand.
If they beat that team, the Cavs are a higher seed. So LeBron failed to position his team. So and they're the 4th seed. Come on.
I want to talk, and this right here is going to open up into my man-to-man. I want to talk a bit about LeBron James and Michael Jordan like I did a couple weeks ago. This right here, this conversation that you and I just had about LeBron missing the free throws, I don't see how missing 2 free throws, and, you know, they were game winners, but I don't see how missing 2 free throws could have helped LeBron James's case in the greatest of all time. I don't see how those 2 free throws just determined the rest of his career. LeBron is still going to beat him in passing assists. LeBron is still going to beat him in scoring with defense. LeBron is going to beat him in every category that there is. LeBron James has had multiple appearances in the finals, and so has Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan has been to 6, and LeBron James has been to 8 straight. I want to talk about that for a second as well. LeBron James has had way more competition when it comes to just him playing in the finals, period. That's why he's only won 3, because the odds have always been stacked against him. And then when LeBron has been the underdog, LeBron has won every single time that he was in the finals. So Michael Jordan, on the other hand, Michael Jordan he's been the defensive MVP twice, right? Well, LeBron's been it 4 times. Well, and we want to talk about those two shots that he missed the other night. I want to talk about that for a second too, because when it comes to just game-winning shots and buzzer beaters, Michael Jordan has shot 72 of them and has made 21. LeBron James has shot way more and made way more than what he has. So I don't care who you are, if you're an old school kind of guy, like I was talking to my uncle the other day, and he was saying that Jordan had more competition back in the day, and here's the thing. LeBron James, when he played in Miami, LeBron was carrying that entire team. It wasn't like that Dwayne Wade is going out there and balling, getting a triple-double every single night. No, if anything, he had maybe 14 assists, and those were all to who? Mr. LeBron James. They weren't to Shane Battier. They weren't to Chris Bosh? Chris Bosh was injured. He's not even in the league anymore. Chris Bosh wasn't even he wasn't even a part of the big three. There was no big three. You want to know what the big three was? It was LeBron, D-Wade, and LeBron. That's who the big three was. I don't care who you are. You can say what you want about LeBron James. The man is the king for a reason. I can bring it back to when he was on the Cavs. When he was on the Cavs, he had not won a championship, and we wanted to sit there and call him the king this and the king that. LeBron hadn't won anything, and now the man has proven that he is a champion. He won a title in Cleveland. The Cleveland has not even had a title in sports history for 50 years, had not had a title. The last time Cleveland had won a title, period, was when they didn't even have the Super Bowl. It was just the World Championship, and the Cleveland Browns had 5 of them. That makes me, it ponders me a lot, because I don't know why I can sit here and just say, well, oh, Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, when he hasn't had any competition in the finals. Period. We can go to the next topic, because that angers me.
Hey, well, they're not going to the finals anyway, but we'll get into that later. But so anyways, for the wrestling fans out there, I know a lot of you watched WrestleMania this past Sunday. Very interesting show. What did you think?
I thought it was a great show overall. I like the fact that John Cena wanted to prove that he is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And doing that, you would have to say, I have done almost the impossible, and that is beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
But he lost.
He lost. Bad. Very bad.
It was like 30 seconds.
But I didn't, I mean, I kind of knew that
he did
Vince
his whole
McMahon
move set out there.
I mean, it looked as if John Cena had lost his edge, and he wasn't that same John Cena that we've been used to seeing for the past few years. I mean,
I think Hollywood got him.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to. Do you remember The Rock?
Yeah,
The Rock is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, hands down. If you ask me, he's in the top 5. If he's not in your top 5, I don't know who you are.
He's not my top 5.
You're not a human being.
He's not my top 5.
If you don't like Twinkie snacks, you're not a human being. And if you don't think that The Rock is the greatest wrestler, if he's not in the top 5, if he's not the greatest wrestler of all time, if he's not in the top 5, you're not a human being. Point blank. Period.
Bro,
but
he's not my top 5.
It doesn't matter.
Do you want to have? Come on now. He's not my top 5.
Look here. I'll go down the list and I'll say
he not
beat
top 5.
Hollywood Hogan. He's beaten who people say is the greatest wrestler of all time.
Okay, give me your top 5. Give me your top 5.
Right now is when it just comes to popularity and when it comes to just move sets, I'm going to say Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The whole overall set.
And they're not in order. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena, The Ultimate Warrior, and right now Goldberg.
Whoa.
Those guys right there, not
Okay,
Triple H.
okay.
I don't think Shawn Michaels is one of my favorite wrestlers, but when it comes to just greatest wrestlers of all time in popularity in the era that they were in, Rick Rude, Dick the Bruiser, there's Big Cat, Ernie Ladd.
I'm going to give you my top 5. Let me give you my top 5.
Go ahead.
And this is a real honest top 5. Okay. John Cena.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Are they in order?
Number 1.
Okay.
Randy Orton. Come on. RKO is the most popular move. It went viral. RKO out of nowhere, it went viral. Come on now. Randy Orton overall, he's number 2. Number 3 is Edge. Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Edge. Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Come on now, Edge. I'm being serious.
So you mean the guy 5-second pose?
The rated R superstar, yes.
Edge?
Yes.
No, I don't think that Chris Jericho is a better wrestler than him. Oh, yes. Did you not see Chris Jericho's debut? Go, Jericho, go. Y2J, yes. Chris Jericho is a greater wrestler than what? Chris Jericho was the very first ever undisputed champion. The very first ever.
Oh, not now. This other one's going to throw you off. And it's someone who wrestled at the past WrestleMania. Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon is a great wrestler. I'm not going to even argue with that one.
He's top 5. I'm sorry.
He's not top 5, but he's a great wrestler.
Look at his body of work. He took he jumped off like the whole like.
Mick Foley was thrown off.
Come on now. Shane McMahon's top, and he's still doing it. So we can get into that, but
another thing that happened over the weekend with WrestleMania was Ronda Rousey competed in her very first WWE match, and it was her WWE debut. I think that this was probably one of the best things that ever happened in her career, and she said so herself. On Instagram, she was talking. She said that she was so glad that she lost her last 2 final matches in the UFC. I was pretty upset that she lost, but because Ronda Rousey is my favorite fighter. She's from my city, Riverside, California, there I was born at. And I think that she has the edge of being one of the greatest women wrestlers of all time. Not only in that, but as the UFC, she's brought the mainstream, she's brought a big audience to just the women's UFC. Right now, you didn't even know about women's UFC. You didn't even know that it existed until Ronda Rousey. Nobody knew that a woman could knock another woman out until you seen Ronda Rousey.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't aware of like women's UFC until like Ronda Rousey became popular. So I do give her credit for like making women's UFC mainstream. And speaking of UFC, are we gonna see Floyd versus Conor, but this time in the octagon?
I think it's gonna happen. I think it is really, really gonna happen. Floyd, and it's not even, Conor McGregor has more to worry about, as we could see this past week. He was arrested on 3 counts of assault. So Conor McGregor, his bail was posted at $50 million, and Conor McGregor has...
How do you feel about that?
I feel as if it was, the reason for it, I feel like it was justified, but for him to react the way that he did was completely out of control. And something does need to be done, but he got his title stripped away from him, and now there's a new champion, but and he's going to end up potentially fighting by probably the end of June. If that doesn't happen, then I know this fight between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor is going to happen. Tyron Woodley said that he would already train Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather has been training on his own. There's been multiple views on World Star about him training about it, and not just that, but on Twitter. And, you know, once those Twitter fingers get to talking, pretty much everything else is going to turn into action.
Yeah.
So
the fight's going to happen, and Floyd's going to get knocked out.
I don't know about that, because people talk about and they say, well, if that fight does happen, Floyd's going to get embarrassed. It's in his element. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that.
It wouldn't even be close.
Conor McGregor is one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time, just from strictly standing up, just from striking. That's the reason why you could say that. Conor McGregor has lost, his only 3 losses have came to the point where he was taken to the ground. Conor
Floyd
McGregor
don't got
does
no
not,
ground game.
Neither does Conor McGregor. And
He has a better ground game.
He has more
than
experience, but he's not a great wrestler. Floyd Mayweather, I'll tell you what, you give him 2 years, not even really 2 years, you get him a half of a year, which is from the summer all the way to December, lead it up all the way to Christmas, and that fight, if it happens, Floyd Mayweather's going to win. And
we could put money on that.
We can put money on that. I will be willing to bet my life savings that Floyd Mayweather wins that fight. You want to know why? Floyd Mayweather, even if that fight doesn't even happen, if it does, the reason why Floyd Mayweather fights and the reason why he wins is because if you look at it, Floyd Mayweather never takes a fight where the odds are stacked against him. Floyd will never take that fight.
Okay.
I will say that Floyd will take the fight if the fight goes to roughly about $150 million. If Floyd gets that money, whether he loses, if he gets knocked out, if he taps, anything, Floyd still wins at the end of the day.
Yeah, the fight's going to make money. The fight's going to make money.
And that's why I say he's going to win, whether he wins
Floyd's
or loses.
not going to do it unless the money is right. He's not stupid. The money's going to be right. Like his kids is going to be set after this fight. So, but it's my man-to-man, and I want to translate back to the NBA because Kyrie Irving is injured. That's a shame. So Boston is unfortunately eliminated, but that big boy Jason Tatum, they're gonna be a tough out in the playoffs. So don't count the Celtics out. I don't think they can beat Cleveland without Kyrie, but they're gonna be a tough out in the playoffs. But they're out. Toronto shrinks, every time they play LeBron. I mean, LeBron proved that. So I mean, who do you have faith in Toronto? I don't. You know what I mean? I don't know anyone other than Drake that has faith in Toronto, and you're not gonna buy me with the Pacers. Victor Oladipo is a great player. He showed that he can be a great player on his own team. You know what I mean? He's playing better now than he did with Westbrook, and so, but they're not gonna beat the Cavs. The Hawks aren't gonna beat them, But there is a team that will see the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. and that will beat the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that is the 76ers. I'm telling you right now, the 76ers will beat the Cavs in Eastern Conference Finals. You heard they're going to upset them. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, them two alone is enough. I'm telling you right now. And what do you think about the West? Do you think the Warriors are coming out, or do you think the Rockets?
I'm scared. Asking you. I am scared for the Warriors.
I'm asking you. What do you think?
I am scared for the Warriors. I don't think that the Warriors have the tools. They're not healthy, is what they say. But even if so, I'll take it back to last year. The San Antonio Spurs last year had the tools to beat the Warriors with Kevin Durant. Had the entire thing. Oh yes, you heard correctly.
Come on, man.
You heard correctly.
The Warriors would have.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you look at Game 1, the Spurs were up by 23 going into the half. And what happened in the third quarter?
Come on.
Kawhi Leonard got injured, and then after that, they still hung in there with them. And their biggest lead that the Warriors had was only 8 throughout the entire series. The biggest lead that they had was 8 points.
Come on, man.
So with Kawhi Leonard, oh yeah, the Warriors were going down, and it would have been the Cavs versus the Spurs. I think the Cavs would have beat them, but I mean they didn't have enough tools to beat the Warriors. You can say what you want.
I think
LeBron was scared to.
Curry's not healthy. I think OKC got a chance in the first round.
Oh, definitely. But we just seen
OKC
2 nights ago.
They just
beat
Houston.
And at Houston
for a playoff spot. So they're automatically in. So and they're in the way it is now, unless some dramatic change happens, with I highly doubt, OKC is going to have to play the Warriors in the first round.
And Russ has got a chip on his shoulder.
And Russ has got a chip on his shoulder. And Paul George has got a chip on his shoulder. And Carmelo Anthony's got a chip on his shoulder. You got to think about if you're Melo, you were with the Knicks, the sorry Knicks. Not you didn't sniff the playoffs. Y'all was sorry. Phil Jackson held you back. And now you didn't have the best regular season. Carmelo Anthony by no means had the best regular season this year. But he was productive. He was productive. He's in the playoffs now. He got Westbrook. He got Paul George. He got Steven Adams. He got a squad now. And you cannot tell me if you Melo, if you Paul George a veteran, he was with the Pacers. They were getting spanked by LeBron. Every year. They got a chance now. And now that they're in the playoffs, I'm telling you, when they used to play the Warriors in the beginning of the season, they used to tee up on them. They blew the Warriors out twice. And they played down the competition. But when they play with money on the line, as you've seen, because if they would have lost to Houston that game, if they would have lost to Houston, they could have missed the playoffs because they were tied with the 8 seed with the Timberwolves and the Nuggets, and it was another team, the Nuggets and who else was it? I think it was the Timberwolves that had the 7 and 8, and they were all tied. And they won. And so with money on the line, I take Westbrook. I'll take Paul George and Melo to get the job done. So, but we'll see.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show for today. You have anything else to say?
Quick, what's your finals predictions?
Cavs in 7, no matter who you are.
Bro, who's coming out the West? Throw it out there.
I like OKC's chances, but you never bet against the Warriors.
Never bet against Curry.
Houston they're going to be one of the greatest teams ever to ever play in the finals. So that kind of gives you my answer there. I like Houston's chances.
Okay. Oh, so here's my thing. I do not back away from what I said before. Kyrie Irving is hurt, so that eliminates the Celtics. But now, like I said, Embiid and Simmons, them boys is ready. And I got them upsetting Cleveland and going to the finals in the East. And like I said before, Westbrook, Melo, George, them veterans are going to step up in the big moments. So I got the 76ers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder in the finals. It might sound crazy, but Curry is not healthy, and Durant is not going to carry that team. Westbrook is not going for none of that. Paul George is a veteran. He's trying to get a ring. It's not guaranteed that he's going to go to the Lakers next year and get to this position because Lonzo is young. Westbrook is a veteran. They want it now. And I think with money on the line, I'm taking them 3. It's cash. It's cash. You can book it. Upset for LeBron and watch Melo, Westbrook, and Paul George sweep their way to the finals.
Well, it'll definitely be a Magic Cinderella story.
And I want y'all to document it because no one sees it coming. I want y'all to document this. You book it right here. I'm going to put this footage out here when the finals matchup happen, and I'm just going to put it out on the internet for everyone to see because I caught it here first. I'm telling you right now, OKC versus the 76ers. Book it. That's the final.
Well, just before we end the show, I want you guys to know, just a sneak peek for next week, we're going to be having a guy on the show by the name of Tristan. He's going to be talking about the NHL hockey playoff season. And I think, you heard it here first, the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to be the Cinderella story from the wild card to win the Stanley Cup. You heard it here first. Well, that wraps up our show for today. I'm Danzel Moore.
I'm Derek Williams.
And we'll see you next time.